Hey, what is up, mortals? It is Robo Celestial here with a new video for you. Welcome to the part 2 of What If Deku Got One for All Early Season 2. I just wanted to greet you guys by just saying, sit back and relax, you're in for a treat. So, we begin. In the announcer's room where Eraserhead and Present Mike comment on the tournament. They have turned off the mic and Eraserhead is explaining to Present Mike why a third year is taking part in the first year sports festival due to Midoriya's recent injuries. We have had to take action to increase the credibility of UA as a school. The way we have elected this is having a third year take place in the first year sports festival. That way people can see the difference in skill, power, and control. In other words, it's our way of saying that UA is the best place for aspiring heroes, not just a regular school. While they are talking, the placement for the tournament is being announced. Present Mike shouts out to the audience to announce the first round. Alright, to get things kicking, we'll be going with Ida versus Midoriya. Midoriya wishes Ida good luck and says that he is going to win. Ida answers him that even if Midoriya is injured, he will not go easy on him. The fight starts. Midoriya goes straight into booster mode, leaping into the air, putting distance between him and from up there. Midoriya starts shooting air bullets, shooting air pressure by flicking his fingers. Ida keeps running around dodging but has no way to attack Midoriya, so he waits for Midoriya to get closer to the ground so he can activate his Recipro Burst. As Midoriya comes down, Ida gets into position and shouts Recipro Burst, running at Midoriya at incredible speeds. This is the first time he has used his attack, so it catches Midoriya off guard. Ida slams into Midoriya's chest, sending both of them flying out of bounds and into the stands. Midoriya tries to figure out a way to overcome this. He cannot lose. He will not let these injuries get the best of him. He activates One for All and slams his foot into the air. Surprisingly, he actually changed their trajectory, sending them back in the opposite direction. He then makes a second quick step to get free of Ida, throwing Ida down and propelling himself back up. Midoriya flies over the arena. His body is exhausted. He knows that he has overshot the arena, and he feels like he is about to pass out. Knowing he is about to lose, he falls to the ground. He hits the ground, having completely overshot the arena. Damn it, I'm out of bounds, Midoriya thinks to himself. After a moment or two, he slowly gets up and looks around. He is sure that he just lost, but he hears people cheering his name. He hears winner Izukumidoriya. Midoriya realizes that Ida hit the ground before him. He was out of bounds first. Deku starts to tear up but then lifts his head, wiping away the few tears that had formed. The next match is Monoma versus Todoroki. At the beginning of the fight, Monoma runs at Todoroki trying to hit him. Todoroki keeps dodging his first few attacks. Monoma eventually hits Todoroki, and Todoroki then proceeded to freeze Monoma's arm. Monoma steps away and the ice starts melting and then evaporates. Todoroki looks at Monoma surprised. How did you do that? How did you use my father's power? Present Mike then announces Monoma's quirk is a limited copy quirk. Monoma spends most of the remaining time tormenting Shoto on how he chooses to use his quirk. He torments him because Todoroki is not using his fire side, because Shoto is only using one half and Monoma is using both halves of it. Shoto is being quickly overpowered, as Monoma melts Todoroki's ice and burns and freezes Todoroki until he is beaten. Shinso versus Tetsu. The fight starts and Shinso asks Tetsu, so you are basically just a clone of the Class 1A rock guy, right? Except using steel instead. Tetsu get very offended at that comment and lashes out at Shinso, saying, how dare you compare me to that, and he freezes, being brainwashed. Shinso then tells Tetsu to walk out of bounds and he wins. Kirishima versus Ibara Shizaki. The fight starts and Ibara starts sending vines at Kirishima to try and immobilize him, but Kirishima just uses his hardened skin to cut through the vines, slowly making his way to Ibara. When he reaches her, he hits her with full force, knocking her out. Takoyami versus Mei Hatsune. This fight is mostly used as a publicity stunt. After showcasing all her inventions, Hatsune steps out of bound willingly and Takoyami wins. Mina Ashido versus Itsuka Kendo. This fight is quickly won by Ashido because although Kendo is a better fighter, Kendo doesn't have any ranged attacks and Ashido does. Ashido wins by skating around and shooting acid at Kendo. Mirio versus Ochako. This fight lasted about 30 seconds. It starts and Ochako runs at Mirio, knowing that if she can make him float, she will probably win. Uraraka runs at Mirio and tries to touch him, but her hand just goes right through him and Mirio's clothes fall through him. Mirio then hits Uraraka in the gut and throws her out of bounds. Momo versus Denki Kaminari. This fight doesn't last very long, as Momo, knowing what Kaminari will do, acts accordingly, preparing her, creating ahead of time. The match starts and does a full-scale assault shouting indiscriminate shock 1.3 million volts, and Momo just creates an insulated sheet that she uses to protect herself from the electricity. Kaminari then, from overusing his powers, becomes dumb, and Momo takes the opportunity and creates a staff to hit Kaminari, knocking him out. Halftime. This is the time you all should go out there and grab your snacks, drinks, and take your bathroom breaks. After halftime ended, they all jumped right back into round 2. Hope you all enjoyed your break. Now time to get into round 2 with Deku versus Monoma. Midoriya stays in booster mode for most of the fight as it allows him to move around a lot better. Midoriya moves in quickly to try and kick Monoma out of bounds. Midoriya successfully lands the kick, but Monoma manages to copy Deku's quirk by touching his hair. Monoma is sent through the arena, almost landing out of bounds. Monoma gets up and tries to activate One for All, saying, "I got your quirk now, Midoriya," and tries to hit Midoriya. Midoriya easily dodges and realizes, wait, no wind pressure was created, and he didn't hurt himself. Midoriya then jumps back at Monoma, hitting him and throwing him out of bounds. People start cheering for Midoriya, and Monoma thinks to himself, well, Midoriya, looks like your quirk was a dud after all. Shinso versus Kirishima. The fight starts and Shinso proceeds to insult Kirishima, calling him stupid and an idiot. Kirishima ignores Shinso's taunting, running at him until he says, "You will never be a hero." Kirishima screams, "Shut up," getting brainwashed by Shinso. Shinso then tells Kirishima to walk out of bounds and passes to the next round. Takoyami versus Ishido. In this fight, Ishido keeps trying to shoot acid at Takoyami, but Takoyami keeps using Dark Shadow to protect himself and getting her closer and closer to getting out of bounds until Dark Shadow eventually throws her out of bounds, winning the fight and getting to the next round. Momo versus Mirio. This fight is also short. Momo doesn't really know what to do against Mirio, so when the fight starts, she makes a staff and shield. Mirio just runs at Momo and kicks her, passing through her shield, his clothes phasing through him, falling to the ground. Momo puts on a surprised face before Mirio kicks her so strongly he throws her out of bounds. POWERRRR. Round 3. The semifinals. Midoriya versus Shinso. Before the fight actually starts, Kirishima and Ajiro warn Midoriya of Shinso quirk, telling him he can't answer any questions Shinso asks. Midoriya takes note. The fight starts and Shinso, knowing what happened with Bakugo and Midoriya relation to him, starts insulting Bakugo despite Midoriya. The plan works and Midoriya gets brainwashed. Shinso tells Midoriya to walk out of bounds and starts telling Midoriya of his aspirations of being a hero. Deku, walking to the line, starts having visions of the vestiges of One for All. He sees a couple of the previous users and has a short conversation with the original user, who tells Midoriya that he can now use about 35% of the quirk and wakes Midoriya up from the brainwashing. Deku walks towards Shinso and uses a One for All punch to knock him out of bounds. Takoyami versus Mirio. Mirio's battle experience was a huge help in this battle, as well as working with Night Eye. He completely overwhelmed Takoyami, phasing through every attack Takoyami throws at Mirio. Mirio eventually gets bored and slowly walks to Takoyami and hits him in the gut so hard that he is knocked out. Midnight says Mirio wins. Mirio versus Midoriya, the finale. The fight starts and Midoriya uses booster mode to jump at Mirio. He just goes through Mirio's face and lands on the ground. Mirio just stands there and says, "Went straight for the head, huh?" Midoriya, knowing Mirio's quirk from Present Mike's description, realizes that he isn't falling through the ground, so he isn't making his feet intangible. Midoriya then jumps in the air using booster mode and shoots some air bullets aiming at Mirio's feet, actually hitting him. Mirio is impressed and waits for Midoriya to land and then knocks Midoriya out of bounds right before he can actually land, winning the tournament. A little later, the medals are given. Nazu is the one to give the medals and feedback. He tells Shinso, "Good job. After your performance here, we will be putting you into the hero course next semester. Until then, you will be doing a special class to catch up to the hero course." He gave Takoyami a medal, giving him pretty much the same advice he was given in the main continuity. Nazu gives Midoriya his medal and tells him, "Good job. You proved that even injured you are able to do very well. You can be a great hero because you can overcome any obstacle that is put in front of you." Nazu then turns to Mirio and gives him the medal, saying, "As expected, you won. Good job, you did your job well." Mirio looks at Midoriya thinking, this kid is good. Maybe we should get him to do his internship at Sir's agency. While Ida, Achako, and Midoriya are leaving school to go home, Ida gets a call from his mother telling him that his brother was injured. Ida finishes his conversation with his mother and says that he will be there as soon as possible. Ida hangs up and tells his friends, "Midoriya Uraraka, I'm sorry, but my brother Tensei was just hurt while fighting the hero killer Stain. I have to go to the hospital to see how he is doing." Ida gets support from Midoriya and Uraraka and leaves to the hospital. Midoriya and Uraraka take the train to go home. As Midoriya arrives home, he is exhausted and goes straight to bed and falls asleep. While sleeping, Midoriya has a weird dream. In it, he sees 8 different people, and out of the crowd of people comes a younger All Might asking, "How are you, young Midoriya?" Thank you all for sticking around, and I hope that you enjoyed. Before you leave, we would just like to let you know that We the Celestials has many other channels for your entertainment and viewing purposes. All the information you'll need is right below here in the description. So feel free to check out all the other incredible projects our team creates. Secondly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details will be in the description below. That's all for today's video. So goodbye and have a divine day.